Hey Rigo, Oceana here with G3 Agency with your free website audit for R&J maintenance in Illinois. In this free SEO website audit provided by G3 Agency, I'm going to show you 3 to 4 things that you can do to get R&J maintenance in front of the people who are searching for landscaping services in the greater Chicago area. Like I said to Bobby on the phone, I don't expect anything in return. For this video, I am really trying to positively affect as many locally owned, family owned type businesses as I can this year. So I'm using my professional skills, doing these videos for free, and you can kind of think of it as like a business card with oomph, where I just give you freely in return, and freely this information. And if they care for you, they'll come back, or whatever, that saying. So basically, I just want to help you out, do what I can. And if you have any questions, if you're interested in working with me further on this kind of stuff, I'd be happy to arrange some time for us to chat, talk about your business goals, and see if a partnership makes sense between R&J and G3. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I always check for with when I'm doing a website audit is a big click to call phone number at the top, and you've got it. Hooray! There's very few that actually have it, so I just want you to know you're already ahead. Okay, so the next thing is content. How many words are on the page? Are they relevant to what you do? And how are the images saved? So I just kind of went up and down checking out how many words you have on your site. So you don't have enough, I can tell you that, but you do a very good job of telling us what it is that you do. And I believe I even saw your address somewhere around here. I think it mentioned where you are. So, oh, there we go, Lansing, Illinois. So that's perfect. That's good. But you do want to increase the amount of words that you have on your page by quite a bit. The reason for this is that Google basically thinks content is king, and the whole point of what we're doing here is to get to the top of Google where people will actually see you when they're looking for your services. So, for instance, if someone typed in Chicago landscapers, you'd want to show up at the top so that lots of people find you and call you. Where was I? Yeah, so you want to have more content. Google loves lots of words on the pages, basically so that it can tell who knows what about it, so that it's not showing somebody who doesn't know anything about it to the person looking for an expert. And then if I right click on an image, I can click Save Image As, which it's not looking like I can on this one for some reason. So it wasn't saved quite like an image. Let's find an image that's actually an image. Probably Photo Gallery would be a good place to look for that. Come on, little buddy. Here we go. Okay. All right, so if I right click on an image, click Save Image As, come on. What the heck? Usually it's there. Let's see. I don't know what's going on here. Why it's not showing up. Like, okay, well, apparently I can't do it on here, but I'll show you on your competitors page down here, actually. So if I right click an image, click Save, and what the heck? This usually doesn't happen. There's usually more images that are regular images. Okay, see how it says Save Image As? I swear, it usually does say that. Okay, so I can see if this image was saved properly. So see how they saved it as this string of numbers? That's not helpful. So what you're going to want to do is actually take your images, save them as specific phrases that people are actually typing into Google when they're looking for landscaping and hardscaping and paver services in the Chicago area. And I'll show you not only how to find, or how I find those key phrases, but I'll actually show you a few that you might be really interested in seeing. First, though, I ran your website through this tool called Ahrefs, and what it does is it gives me an in-depth look into how a website's performing, because it's one thing, in my view, for it to look nice. It's great if it looks nice, but it's another thing for it to actually function properly, right? So this tells me whether or not it's functioning properly, and I can tell you from these low scores, these mean very little to you, but to me they look like a website in desperate need of my help. So your UR score and your DR score are basically how trustworthy does Google think that your website is based on your content, your images, and your backlinks and referring domains, which are right here. These are from 0 to 100, and these are really sad scores. But it's okay. Everybody starts somewhere, and how you increase this amount of this score here and end up higher on Google's trustworthiness, right? And therefore higher up in its results is with backlinks and referring domains. So a backlink is any link that goes from another website back to your website, and a referring domain is any website that has at least one of those on it. So you've got one website out there somewhere that has 8 different links to your website on it. And then and I can actually look at it right here and see it is EthiopianNewsToday.com. Apparently you're very popular with Ethiopian news. 8 times popular, actually. So that's kind of how I see information about your site. But then here I put in Chicago. This is the Keywords Explorer function of this tool, and this is how I find keywords that have a high promise, and actually how I found out that there's a need in your area, and therefore how I found you on Home Advisor was actually looking for people to fill that need. I cross-referenced Chicago with some things that you do, hardscaping, landscaping, and pavers specifically. And I came back with these results. So we've got landscaping Chicago, for instance. It's got a KD, keyword difficulty of 12. That's basically, that means it's a 12 out of 100, you know, out of 0 to 100 scale. How difficult does this tool, Ahrefs, think it will be to get to the first page of Google? And a 12 is a little bit higher than we usually like to go for. We really like to go after like 5 and below, 10 below, you know. Basically, the lower the number, the quicker the results come. A 12, though, is not terribly out of reach, especially when you look at this volume. So the volume is basically how many people are searching for this exact term each month in Google. And over 1,000 people are searching for landscaping Chicago every month. So that's pretty amazing, actually. And if you were sitting on the first page for Google, you would stay pretty consistently busy throughout the year with a keyword like this, I imagine. You know, I don't know how many people are on your crew, of course, but this would keep, you know, quite a few people busy throughout the year, right? And then, of course, if that's not quite enough, this one over here, it's got half, you know, just a little over half of the search volume, but it's also got a less KD, so you see results faster for it. Chicago landscape is definitely something you do. So just be careful, you know, when you're looking for keywords. I want you to look for 4 things specifically: something that you do, something, some place that you do it, low keyword difficulty, and high volume. Those are the 4 ingredients for a really good keyword, which each of these has. I also wanted to point something out that's interesting on this, and this is a really good example of it. Ooh, I didn't mean to do all that. Okay, so these 2 right here, you'll notice landscape architecture, Chicago, and Chicago landscape architecture. You and I know that this is basically, these are the same thing, right? Because that's just how English language works. But Google is not an English-speaking thing. It is a machine. So what it does is it has these 2 different keywords as completely different keywords, and they have their own set of properties. And so you can see each of them, they have the same amount of people searching for them. So if somebody's going to search for something like this, I can see they're just as likely to put Chicago at the beginning or the end. But if you put it at the end, it's got a keyword difficulty of 30. If you put it at the beginning, it's only got a keyword difficulty of 11. So that's where it kind of you can see, like, oh, well, if your competitors are all saying landscape architecture Chicago, well, I'm just going to put Chicago landscape architecture on my website, and I'm going to show up for this one before, you know, they catch on, and I'm going to get some customers that way. So that's kind of fun. And then down here, Chicago pavers, we've got 150 people looking for that each month, and it's only got a keyword difficulty of 2, which is very low, very in reach. A similar situation with this Chicago landscape design, very low KD and decent volume. This is, you know, nothing to bat an eye at. Anything above 100 is pretty great. We even go after ones with like 50 search volume sometimes if what we're selling is a high enough ticket that it's worth it, which with landscaping it absolutely does fit that criteria, I assure you. Okay, so if I type in landscaping Chicago, like these 1.1 thousand people are each month, this is what we get. First come the map pack. How you end up here is a little different, so I'll take a break talking about organic results down here and talk about this. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your name, address, and phone number are exactly correct on your Google My Business listing. And once you've done that, you're going to take that information, your name, address, and phone number, and spread it all over different directories like Yelp, Yext, CityStar, White Pages, Yellow Pages, etc. And that's going to show Google, basically proving to Google that you really exist and you really do serve that area. And that's just going to help basically you know, grow trust with Google. And as Google trusts you more and more, you're going to end up being seen more and more places, right? So like right here, if you end up in the top 3 for the map results, you end up on the first page of Google, which is amazing. This is great. These people are going to be getting a lot of website visitors from showing up here. But that's not as exciting as showing up down here in what's called the #1 organic result. Now this is right now, it's being taken up by a Yelp result, so I'm not going to be comparing you with them, but this result here will get 30% of all of the, you know, so that's like 300 people going to this one website each month just from this one keyword. But this one is the one I'm going to compare you to. It's going to get about 20%, so that's still about 200 people going to their site each month just for this one keyword. And so that's a really good chance for them to get their name in front of a lot of people that are already saying, hey, I'm looking for this service, I'm going to spend money on it, I just don't know who I'm going to give that money to yet. So this is kind of their chance, and this would be your chance to show that you're the best person for the job. So I'm going to take a look at their website. This is it right here, and I'm going to be looking at this with an eye and basically thinking, what is it that they're doing right, and what therefore should we copy, and what is it that they're doing wrong so that we can do better than them at that and then surpass them. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for here. So actually I need to go to their homepage, I believe. So you can see the amount of content on their page is not much more than yours, if it even is more than yours. I don't think it is. I think it might be less. And their images were not saved properly because I couldn't even open them like that. And then if I throw them into Google, I mean not into Google, if I throw them into Ahrefs, this tool, I can see where it is that they're sitting there ahead. So their UR and DR scores are higher than yours for sure, but I'm seeing a big imbalance here where they're putting a lot of effort into being seen on their homepage, but they're not putting as much effort into their other pages, which is causing an imbalance. And what that's going to cause is distrust with Google. So somebody else coming through with a lower UR but a higher DR score might just surpass them just because they have a more well-rounded site. And then what that comes from is those backlinks and referring domains basically pointing at a much higher rate toward their homepage than their other pages, and that's causing that imbalance there. We can actually take a look at their organic keywords. This is kind of fun. It's a little bit of ethical spying. We can see Landscaping Chicago. They're currently, okay, so this is a little bit outdated. This is from the well, it's only like the 13th now. So sometimes this, you know, this isn't always perfectly accurate, but it gives us a good idea. And basically it says it's in the 3rd position and it's getting about 114 traffic. Now I saw that they're in the 2nd position, so they're probably getting more than that now. But for some reason it's showing them in the 3rd. But we can also see other ones that they're showing up for. Landscape Maintenance Chicago, right? This one's got a little bit lower of a keyword volume and it's got higher KD, so it's probably not really worth going after right now. But if we were already doing well on other words, it might be a good idea. Okay, so that's all the time I have. Please check this out here, and I look forward to talking